good morning, good morning. Let me make sure I'm live before we start chit chatting. Y'all know how it goes. Okay, I'm live. Good morning, everybody. Today we are, listen, we taking the mask off. That's what we're going to call this today. We're going to call this today's segment Masks Off. All right, Masks Off. If this is your first time here, my name is Yashika Foster. I am a certified life strategist and self actualization coach. Okay. Now, with that being said, today we are still embarking on the getting to self actualization. And if you guys don't know what self actualization is, that is the point in your life where you want to be. You want to be at that point in your life. When you get there, you know that everything else in the world is good around you, right? You have your safety, you have your security, you're not financially stressed, you have your health, you have all of the things, right? And this is what everyone in life strives to get to, that place where they can be self actualized. But before we can get to the part of self actualization, we have to go through certain steps. Now, if you wasn't with me yesterday we talked about self awareness. Today we are talking about what survival mode looks like. To me, it's saying mask off. That's what I hear when I hear that, or when I say that. What does survival mode look like? I think about mask off. In other words, you finally taken the mask off. That's what it looks like. It looks like somebody with a mask on. So how do we get to a point where we're taking the mask off and we're no longer living in survival mode, right? Now, let me explain to you what survival mode really looks like. It looks like we're in high functioning goals, right? And the thing about it is that we're so much into survival mode sometimes, and that people won't even look at us and say, hey, you might need a break, or hey, you might need to sit down, or hey, are you okay? But what they will tell you is how strong you are. What they will tell you is, wow, it takes this kind of person to do that and do this. And sometimes in life, we're going to go through that part where we have to survive a situation. We have to survive a certain experience because of something, and therefore we have to overcome. We have to keep on moving. But what happens when survival mode becomes the way you live your life every single day? What does it do to the body, and what does it look like? And today we're going to talk about some of those things, about what it looks like. Survival mode can look like you are constantly explaining yourself. So let me tell y'all. Yesterday, and this is what happened. Yesterday, I went to because after I do this, I go to the gym. It's like a whole thing. That's why I'm always in gym attire. Well, before I come home, I stop and get whatever I'm going to eat for lunch that day if I'm not going to choose. So yesterday, I went to Cava, which is a place I go to often. And in front of me, there were two women already there placing their order. Both were being helped by someone on the other side of the counter. The first lady was on the phone with someone, and that person was telling her their order while she was also telling it to the person who was making the food at Kava. And at the same time, he was also making a bowl for her, a Kava bowl for her. And so it was one of those things where it slowed down the process to the point where the customer behind her, the guy that was helping her, he was about to go around the guy that was helping the woman with the two orders. And she said something. She was like, hey, I'm still next, sir. In other words, I know I'm taking slow, but you're going to wait. And so it was one of those things where it was, you could feel the tension in the air until, I guess he was the manager or the shift leader, whoever he was. He literally came to the other side, and as soon as she did something that, like stuck her hands over there, he was like, hey, get your hands on the other side. Because at that point he was like, okay, you should have got all this broke down before you got to the line, whatever. Well, I say all this to say that once she got to the register, and she, because it was only three people in line, it didn't take too long. It was no more than if there had been two customers. Now, did they add a minute or two to it? Probably so, but it wasn't nothing for them to get their panties in a bunch about. But what I noticed about her was, when it was over and she paid for her food, for both orders, then she still had more to say to the cashiers. So she went on to explain herself, and he was like, well, you could have, he said, well, maybe in the future you can call ahead. Well, see, this is the first time, and I'm not really from around here, and, and this and that and the third. And then even after they stopped talking, she came back and had other things to say. And so for me, she was literally explaining herself, over explaining herself. Now, what people don't realize is that that is a survival technique, because you want to be understood why your actions are the way they are. You want somebody to say, well, okay, I see your point. That's survival mode, because you want to not do anything that's gonna shake up anything. You want to survive. Like, it's one of those things where I need you to understand what I'm thinking. So therefore, if you won't see like me as being different, being weird, as being a problem or whatever, right? That's survival mode. We don't have to explain ourselves. Okay, that's what we need to understand. We do not need to explain ourselves, especially in certain environments, right? You are allowed to do what you need to do in this world, as long as it doesn't affect anything morally, illegally, or ethically, or any of those things, right? But when it comes to explaining yourself, you don't have to do that, especially over explaining. Listen, I'm sorry, right? I got two orders. It's gonna take some time. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. You know, now, could she have let the other man go around her? Absolutely, because I don't think it would have been disrespectful, but she handled it the way she handled it. But the moral of the story is that I realized that she was over explaining herself in something she didn't need to do. And that is definitely something that we do in survival mode. Another thing that we do in survival mode is saying yes to things when we really want to say no. Listen, no is a complete sentence. Again, go back to number one. It don't even need an explanation. If you say no to something, say no. That's it. Because I don't want to. And it has to be just that simple. There was a meme going around a little while ago where the girl was like, I don't want to. Get somebody else to do it. That's how I feel about so many things at this good old age of 52 being seasoned. There's many things that I pay people to do now. Why? Because I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to be Miss Save 'em All. I don't want to do everything. I don't want to be a superhero. No, I don't. I just want to literally go shopping, be pretty, eat at fine restaurants, make money, right? And I don't want to do it stressfully. Okay? I want to do those things as simple as possible. And when it comes to things that I don't want to do, I just say no. That's it. Saying yes to something that you don't want to do is a survival technique that we need to get away from it, right? That is part of your boundaries. That is part of you setting your boundaries and saying, you know what? I'm okay with saying no. I'm okay with saying no, right? Another thing that we do that I know that's one of those things that is pure survival mode is working, doing, where our brains don't even shut off at night, right? I mean, that's a survival mode, because you feel that if you take a moment or you forget about something, then something is going to drop. Like, you're waiting on the other shoe to drop is a survival mode technique. Like, in other words, it's one of the, like, in other words, you're always on edge. You can't sleep, you can't take a nap, you can't rest, you can't do anything. That is in survival mode. Now, are there some things in life that might interrupt those things? Absolutely. Some people have anxiety, some people have ADHD, those things like that. But you know yourself well enough to know when you're doing things because this is the way you think they're supposed to go, or you're doing them because you believe that in order to get to the next level, I gotta just crash out all the time. I gotta do things and work. That is, you're operating in survival, right? And like I said before, for me, there's a lot of things that I don't want to do no more. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Okay. So when we talk about survival mode, there are a lot of things that we are doing that we don't even pay attention. And one of the examples that I think I've said before is when you are going to your place of work, or you're going to your shopping center or your gym or somewhere that you frequent every day, right? You start to go to those places without even realizing that you made a left turn or you made a right turn, because your mind is somewhere else and you're operating from familiarity, which is also the same as survival mode. Because it's a place of comfort. You're not even paying attention. It's like you're not stopping long enough to smell the roses, because you're literally trying to just get to the next point. You're literally trying to just get to the next location or the next thing to get this task completed so I can go on to the next thing. That is a survival mode technique. That is something that people do in survival mode. And I'm here to tell you, in order for you to get to a life of self actualization, that's something that you have to be very cognizant of, right? And so, to help a lot of people out, because I don't think that people really understand that they're living their life like that, right? I don't think understand that people understand that they're always on the edge, and because of that, it causes health issues. It causes like all kind of issues, right? Health and it spill over in other areas in your life, whether it's your personal relationships, because you're always on go. You're always on go because you're always trying to survive. Like you never walk along and just pick daisies. And sometimes and you have to do that in life in order to get to a place in life where you appreciate, because what I recognize is that we don't control anything. Okay? We don't control anything. Anything that's going on around us, we have control of our bodies, we have control of certain things, but whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Now, yes, are you supposed to do your part? Absolutely. Are you supposed to put things in place so they can be, what they're supposed to be to the best of your ability? Absolutely. But whatever's going to happen, right? So when you're walking around always on edge, you're causing yourself to like, because you want to be in control. You're not in control of anything. Believe me when I tell you, you're not in control of anything. Nope, you're not in control of anything. Okay, we're not. There's an old saying: if you want to hear God laugh, tell me your plans. And I say it often because I live by that. Okay, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. All right, because he got his own, and sometimes they don't align with yours. And if they do, sometimes it's about timing. The timing is off, right? But anyway, a lot of people are living in survival mode and they don't even know it. So to help you guys out, now I do need to get a photo op. Hold up. Okay. All right, so I can do my banner, okay? Because I realized yesterday that I'm so animated in the face that I don't never pause long enough to take a photo. So we're gonna do the photo op again. Anyway, to help you guys out and to see if you are literally living in survival mode, I myself in Chat GPT, okay, I call my Chat GPT Yasmin. She and I have created a 10-question quiz that you can take. It's literally just 10 questions with 3 simple possibilities, and then at the end you tally up your points and it tells you where you are in life. All right, are you still living in survival mode? Are you starting to change? Are you in full survival mode, or are you so long far from it that well, anyway, if you want that, go ahead and drop a comment below of this video and say, send me now. Send it to me now. Send now. Send the quiz now. Anything with the word send in it, and I will send it to your DM, right? If you want to schedule an appointment with me so I can help you to get to the place of being self-actualized, go ahead and schedule an appointment with me, or you could just do a simple, just do a consultation, right? So anyway, DM me, send now if you want that quiz, and also you can put a comment below or DM me if you're ready to set an appointment with me to get self-actualized. All right, this is getting to self-actualization, and today we talked about survival mode and what it looks like and how to get yourself out of it, because that's not what we need to do. Okay, that stuff will kill you. That stuff will kill you because it's part of stress, and at some point we have to get to part of our lives where we realize that, you know what, let me do what I can. I don't control anything, and listen, as long as I do my part and I'm doing it the way that I intend, that it's meant for me to do, ethically, morally, and all the other things, then that's all you can do and all you can worry about, right? Put your best foot forward. So I don't know who this is for, but I know if it's from somebody. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.